Welcome, everyone. Man, if you look around at the world today, young people are carrying this absolutely massive, unprecedented burden. It's the burden of choice. We are literally bombarded every single day with decisions about who we should be, what we're supposed to value, and how we should actually spend our finite time on this earth. It can be just incredibly overwhelming. So today, we're exploring a truly fascinating text called Küçük Sözler, which translates to small words. But hey, don't let the name fool you. This is a profound philosophical toolkit designed specifically to help us navigate that exact overwhelm. In this explainer, we're going to unpack how this source material provides a deeply structured way to approach the biggest dilemmas we face. We aren't just looking at some old, dusty text here. We're looking at a completely timeless framework for understanding our place in the universe. Okay, let's dive into this. We're faced with perhaps the single most difficult question any young person ever has to answer. By what measure will I build my life? Seriously, take a second to really think about that. When you're standing at the threshold of adulthood, you aren't just looking at one clear, straight path forward. You are standing at this massive, complex crossroads of radically different ways to live. And the source text we're examining today recognizes this heavy emotional weight perfectly. It acknowledges that building a life requires a foundational blueprint. You literally have to pick a measuring stick. Is it going to be wealth, impact, spirituality? How do you even begin to choose? So that brings us to Section 1, Thought Education, Beyond a List of Commands. When people hear about texts dealing with faith or morality, they almost always expect a super rigid rulebook, right? Like a strict list of do this and definitely don't do that. But the source material explicitly breaks away from that. We are encountering a major paradigm shift here. Küçük Sözler is not a list of commands. It's an education in perspective and thought. It's a rigorous mental exercise. How does it actually pull this off? Well, the text uses this brilliant method of representations. Essentially, they're really powerful allegories or thought experiments. It takes two completely different life choices, sets up a scenario, and then brings the ultimate results of both choices side by side. It forces us to observe, to analyze, and to think deeply about the natural consequences of our worldview rather than just spoon-feeding us empty answers or superficial slogans. It actually treats us as active participants in our own intellectual journey. And that takes us right into Section 2, the two paths, the core comparison. Now get ready, because this is arguably the most crucial part of the source material. And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute core of the text. The author argues that fundamentally, all those confusing, tangled roads at the crossroads eventually boil down to two primary ways of interpreting reality. Consider the path of the world. It's an approach that reads life purely through a material lens. The ultimate goals here: momentary pleasure, worldly success, and a heavy reliance on your own personal power and ego. It's a path that basically shouts, I'm the master of my own universe. But contrast that with a path of faith. This path reads life through a completely different metric. It introduces these huge concepts of responsibility, the humility of servitude to a higher power, and the search for an eternal meaning that actually outlasts our physical bodies. The text places these two worldviews right next to each other. It asks us to compare the psychological and spiritual outcomes of relying solely on our own fragile power versus anchoring ourselves to something eternal. It's a stark, powerful contrast, completely designed to wake up our conscience. Moving right along to Section 3, From Seed to Tree, the Blueprint of Truth. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it shows a compact text tackling such massive, universe-spanning ideas. To make this comparative thought education actually work, the author relies on a very specific, deeply powerful natural metaphor. The seed is small, but it carries the plant of the tree within it. Think about an acorn for a second. It fits right in the palm of your hand, yet perfectly encoded inside it is the blueprint for a massive, towering oak tree. The text explains that the short lessons in Küçük Sözler act exactly like these seeds. For instance, the first word focuses simply on Bismillah, in the name of God. It's a short phrase, a tiny seed. But through the text's thought experiment, that tiny seed opens the door to massive branching truths about the nature of the universe, about worship, about the logic of prayer, and the sheer reality of the hereafter. Each short allegory is a seed that, if we actually plant it in our minds, grows into a comprehensive understanding of reality. Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, Modern Questions, Applying the Metaphor Today. It's so easy to look at an older text and just assume it doesn't apply to our fast-paced, technology-driven lives. But the existential dilemmas we're facing right now are the exact same human dilemmas this text was engineered to explore. Let's see how this ancient thought process perfectly overlays our modern anxieties. Is success truly enough? We hustle, we grind, we build careers, but does that actually fill the void? Is freedom having no limits? Does casting off all rules actually liberate us, or does it just leave us totally adrift? Is everything pleasurable actually good for the soul? And the heaviest one of all, does the reality of death make everything we do meaningless, or does an eternal perspective actually inject ultimate value into our daily actions? These are not easy questions, and the absolute beauty of this text is that it doesn't insult our intelligence by giving us a one-sentence superficial answer. It uses those seeds, those side-by-side comparisons of the two paths, to actively call us to question our own souls. It demands that we trace our chosen path all the way down to its logical conclusion. So the crucial point is, a guide cannot walk in your place, but it helps you see the right path. Let that sink in for a moment. This entire text, this whole framework of thought education, is completely useless if we expect it to do all the heavy lifting for us. It is a map, it's a flashlight, but we are the ones who have to put one foot in front of the other. The true empowering value of Küçük Sözler is that it clears the fog, it lays out the path of the world and the path of faith, shows us exactly where they both lead, and then hands the responsibility firmly back to us. This leaves us with the ultimate question we must ask ourselves today. By what foundational acceptance am I living my life? Am I anchoring my existence to momentary comfort, or am I building on the bedrock of lasting meaning? The two paths are right in front of us. The seed has been planted, the thought education has begun, but the choice of which path to walk, well, that is entirely up to you. Take a moment to confront that choice today. Thank you so much for exploring this profound text with me in this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep seeking that lasting meaning.